everybody, how is it going? And I am Lucas, and today we are going to be checking out a really cool tele from Harley Benton. We're going to be checking out the TE20HH standard tele from Harley Benton. Believe it or not, guys, I actually only paid $91 for this metal tele. Yes, I actually saw an ad for it, or a story I should say, on Guitar World about it, and I said, man, $91 for a metal tele? Let me get that thing and check it out. By the way, this is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form by anybody but me, because I bought this guitar with my own money. And guys, if you want to support me, make sure you subscribe, because I got a lot of cool stuff that's going on here, and I don't want you to miss out any of it. And stay tuned to the end of this video, because I have a pretty exciting announcement concerning this guitar. So let's go over the specs of this guitar, and we're gonna run down everything about it, get some different sounds on it. I'm gonna tell you all my experiences with it. So let's actually start right at the headstock. So of course, it's a 6-string guitar. The ratio of the tuners are actually pretty nice. Whenever you turn them, they're the right amount of force is there whenever you're tuning up your strings. I actually changed the strings on here. It came with a 10 to 46 set, and I changed it to some D Adagio NYXL 52 to 10s, and I'm in drop C, and it's absolutely perfect for that. I'm gonna kind of go into more to how to restring the guitar whenever I get to the bridge section. Sticking with the headstock, you have your classic tele headstock, and these little string trees or string guides, however you would like to refer to them. This is the first time I've owned a guitar with 2 sets of them. Most of the guitars only have 1 set of them. And I found it really interesting that they do a good job of keeping the strings nice and low whenever you're getting them out here, but I found that it kind of interrupted my wrapping, because whenever I wrap my strings on my guitar, I like to get them nice and neat, and I like to get them tucked, and whenever I was wrapping them with the string trees, it wrapped them kind of low, so I kind of had to unwrap it and wrap it to kind of get it nice and nice and tight the way I like it, but I still kind of messed it up a little bit. But overall, restringing wasn't all that big of a deal. Moving on to the nut, it doesn't exactly say what type of nut is in there. I'm pretty sure it's a plastic nut and not a bone nut, being that this is a budget tele. It has a 42mm neck width, and it's actually cut really nice because the 52 set that I put in here, it fit in there perfectly. And you can probably go even a little bit bigger if you want to go even lower with this thing, if you want to take it to drop A or B flat if you want. I wouldn't really recommend that, being that this is a little bit of a shorter scale tele, but you could definitely do that if you'd want to. Moving on to the neck. The neck itself is actually a maple neck, and then the whole guitar is a satin finish, but the back of the neck has a nice satin finish. It's nice and smooth, and you're going up and down the neck. The fretboard itself is also maple, but it's actually called Rosacar. I'm pretty sure I pronounced that right. If I pronounced that wrong, please correct me in the comments. What this is it's actually pressure treated maple that gives you the look, a rosewood look. It looks more like rosewood than it would ebony, but it's kind of a little dark going on there, and I actually really like it. It's really cool. It's the first time I've owned a guitar with a fretboard like that. It doesn't really affect the feel of the fretboard all that much. It still feels really great. Now, coming to the frets, you do have 22 nickel frets on here, and the fretwork on here is all right. I actually found a crooked fret at my 7th fret here. The fret itself is kind of cocked a little bit down. It doesn't actually affect playing. It doesn't give you a dead spot or anything like that, but it looks like the fret wasn't pushed down all the way, or when it was pushed down, it kind of hit some interference. It passed QC as a QC sticker in the back of the neck, and it looks okay, and it's fine. And then some frets back here, it looks like they have a little extra piece of fret wire that they didn't finish cutting off, and some of them it's kind of gapped a little bit, but they don't stick out over the fretboard exactly. The lengths of them is really nice, and this came all the way from Germany to my house in Louisiana in 2 days, and it came in tune. It did cost me $70 to ship it, so the total cost of the guitar was $161, but I don't really count the shipping, because I mean, you have to pay that to get this here, because if you were, you know, in Europe, it would be vastly cheaper from that. But $91 for the guitar itself is is really, really cheap. Fret dots on the top side are actually even. We have no googly-eyed ones. They're all nice. The fret markers on the actual fretboard themselves, it's actually pretty nice too. There's one on the 3rd fret. It kind of looks like it has a little bit of black in it, but I think that's just the mother of pearl that they put in there. I don't think that's an error or any bad markings or anything like that. Moving on to the body, we do have a basswood body, which a lot of people like to shit on basswood and say that it's a shitty wood for body, but I actually like it. It's really good when it comes to metal. You do have a red pick guard, which is rad, because red is rad. Now, when it comes to the pickups on the guitar, they're pretty bassy, especially the middle position and the neck position. It's a 3-position guitar. It does get a little bit bassy, but it is pretty good for chugs, because whenever you chug it, you do have a lot of good bass response in there. I do have a ringing when I palm mute, since we're talking about that. I have my fret wrap right here because I tried to stop it, but I don't know where that ringing is coming from. I don't know if it's coming from the trees down here or wherever, but I haven't been able to track it down yet. But it hasn't been that big of an annoyance for me, because you don't have anything on the back side of the guitar, because everything you see is in the front right here. This is the positions you come right here. The pickup switch is really tight whenever you're moving it. When it comes to the bridge, you have a DLX TE bridge. The interesting thing about this bridge is the strings actually come from the back and they come up through the saddles, and then you string them up right here. This is the first guitar I've ever owned with that kind of stringing method, and I'm not the biggest fan of it, because on my D string on the inside of the saddle itself, it was kind of rough, like it wasn't very smooth, and the string kept biting on it, and it took me a while to get it in. You kind of have to angle the strings down and up to get them through the saddles. I mean, I understand why they did this, because this is a budget guitar, so they're trying to save money without having to drill holes to go through the body. But you can do it with this bridge, because you can see the holes underneath the actual saddles themselves. So I guess it's flexibility, you can go either way. I would much prefer to see if it was stringed through the body. That would make stringing up a little bit easier, but hey, I could get it. They're on a budget. I know I've been talking for a little while, so let me play a little bit more. I'm gonna do a little bit more rhythm sounds on the bridge pickup, and I'll do a little bit of single note stuff so you can kind of get an idea of what that sounds like. Cycle the pickups for you. This is the middle position. Now, when you come to the middle position, it's very interesting because it isn't both pickups. I couldn't find any information on Harley Benton's site about this, but I'm pretty sure it's a split coil type of mode that's going on here, because it sounds like it. Watch. It really does sound like that. I mean, you have the bass from the neck pickup in there, but it definitely sounds like a split position. Now, this is on the neck. The neck pickup has a ton of bass in it. That's bridge, neck. So as you can see, you have a lot of bass with the neck pickup, which I don't really mind it. The body of the guitar itself is really resonant, so it makes dialing in presets, and when you're doing it with Champ, it makes it really kind of easy to dial in because it has a nice good chunk. It definitely chugs. So let's move on to some clean tones. So for the clean tones, I'm going to start in the middle position, and I'll go to the neck, and then I'll cycle back around to the bridge, because I would definitely use the middle position if I'd be playing cleans in, you know, any type of setting with this Tele. into the neck. As you can see, I dialed in this preset. I'm using my X-Fx3. I dialed that in with the middle position, so the bass response came up a lot when I went to the neck, and I have the bass on my patch turned all the way down, by the way. So let's move on to the neck pickup. This is the clean's gonna be, excuse me, cleans on the bridge pickup. Cleans on the bridge, sorry about that. For me, I'm definitely using the neck pickup because you have that nice good bass response. The neck you could, but there's a lot of bass in it, and the bridge kind of sounds really hollow with the way I set up the preset using the middle selection. Now I'm gonna turn the effects off that I have, and I'm gonna let you hear it just regular clean. Same exact cycle, gonna do the middle, the neck, and then the bridge. Finally, the bridge. Once again, I would go with the middle if you're gonna go for cleans. I did do a teardown in this guitar because I was curious to what things looked like underneath the pick guard. So to take the pick guard off, all you have to do is you just undo the screws all the way around it. It's very easy to take it up. It is kind of tucked underneath the neck, so just be careful when you're trying to remove it. You kind of have to kind of angle it, and just be careful that the screws on the actual neck pickup, you know, don't scratch the cavity too much. Once you actually pull that out, you have plenty of room in here. So if you want to drop any active pickups in here, I'm pretty sure pickups with covers would fit because you do have a little bit of space in there. You may have to make it a little bit wider, especially up here in the pick guard itself. You may have to kind of sand a little bit of stuff away there, but you do have plenty of room in there. Now when you go into the bridge in the back, you have 3 screws across the back to take it up, to remove it. Those are the long screws, so always make sure you put the long screws back in the back. You have one on either end, and you have one underneath the 3rd saddle right here. It's toward the back of the bridge. It's really easy to see. The saddles themselves do look good, but it looks like my A and my G saddle that's in standard tuning going down, so the 2nd and the 4th, it looks like they're scuffed a little bit, and they just kind of painted over it. So I don't exactly know how that happened, but they definitely put it on here. So I wouldn't consider that like a bad thing per se, but it isn't exactly pristine. But once again, this is a $91 guitar. The bridge itself is very easy to pull up. You do have a lot of space in that route, so like I said, you would be able to fit, you know, some EMGs or some Fishermans in here if you did want to do that. And when I pulled up the control section over here, it comes up very easily. The switch itself, it's in a little plastic little box whenever you're moving it back and forth. And like I said, it is really tight, but it feels really good. The soldering in here too is actually really nice. It's very neat, and it's not very messy. And I know I've been talking a lot about active pickups. You can fit a battery module in here. You may have to kind of like put some double-sided tape or something to kind of keep it straight up if you want to put it straight up, or if you want to lay it down, but you have plenty of space for a battery in here. One little error that I noticed when I was taking everything apart is I think they cut the route for the controls a little too long, because the screw that's all the way in the back here, it's in the wood, but there's like a section of the wood that's missing, so it's almost as if it's too short. So it still grips the wood, but it doesn't grip it as good as the front one does. And that's one of the only little errors I found when I was tearing everything apart. And the pickups themselves, there's no label on the actual bottom of it. I'm gonna put up a frequency response up on the screen right now, so you can check that out, and this is the frequency response that the pickups give off. There's no information that I could find. Now, if you can find that on Harley Benton's site, please link it below. Please let me know. I didn't have time to put my meter on the pickups to kind of give you the resistance that it gives off, but they're about medium output, I guess, if I would have to say medium to high output. They're not very low output. This is a metal tele, so they're in that kind of higher range if I had to guess, but like I said, I could not find any information on that. Let's check out some lead sounds now on the tele. I know I've been talking a whole lot, so let's get to some lead sounds. I'm gonna be using the neck pickup for a majority of this, and then I'll cycle the middle and I'll cycle the bridge and cycle back to the neck so you can hear that like the neck pickup on here for leads. It is not very ice picky. It's very, very easy to dial in. I didn't really even tweak the other patch very much from the other patch. It's just a patch I've dialed in a long time ago. I didn't have to tweak it very much. The frets themselves, they could use a very nice polish, because they do bite a little bit whenever you're bending, but I mean, you're gonna have that when you have nickel frets, when you aren't using stainless frets. But overall, I really like it for leads. I find it really excels when it comes to leads. So let's go to the middle position. And the bridge. Back to the neck. Leads on here on the neck pickup, I really do like it. It doesn't fight you. It's very smooth. To wrap things up, is this Harley Benton metal tele worth the $91? Absolutely. It is a great tele. It sounds great. The pickups, for being Harley Benton pickups and not really having a lot of information about them, I do like them. They're a little bit different from a lot of the other pickups that I've played before, but they're very easy to get along with. I like the single coil sound that you get in the middle. And not a lot of guitars actually do that. A lot of guitars that cost more than this guitar don't actually do that. I did find a few flaws, but hey, it's a $91 guitar. I found worse flaws on guitars that cost 3 times as this. We did have the route being cut a little bit too big. You have a little bit of roughness in the saddles. You kind of have to watch that, because sometimes if it's rough enough, it'll actually cut your string whenever you're playing. And on the underside of the guitar, I did find a spot on the finish. It's a little bit thin, and you can kind of see a little bit of the maple, but that's not really that big of a deal. It's underneath the guitar. The finish on this guitar is very thin though, because I've already chipped it without even trying. Whenever I was restringing it, I chipped it up here, and I did have to tighten the truss rod a little bit. So whenever I was tightening the truss rod underneath here, I bumped it a little bit, but it's not that big of a deal. The guitar still looks great. It came all the way from Germany, like I said, and it was fine. It was still actually in tune. If you want a mod platform, or if you just want another guitar that's not that expensive and it's great and you're on a budget, this guitar is very fantastic. Now, I did say I would have an announcement at the end of this video about this guitar, and yes, guys, I'm giving this guitar away to you. I'm gonna put up a whole separate video on all the information on how you can actually get this Tele for absolutely free. So make sure you are subscribed so that way you don't miss out on that. Guys, if you thought this video was helpful and informative and you liked it, give me a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. All right, guys, thank you so much for checking out this video and spending some time with me. I really do appreciate it. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.